Oh, yeah. This is educational purposes. You're using this for educational purposes.
Yes.
It's accurate, you know. And also, they need to pass that when they make those calls, that they want to use the adjustment. Yes, and they will use the adjustment. Also, and it's not what they said, and they
Sorry about
lie,
that.
they need to go jail.
Sorry. We want to apologize. We're sorry we had some technical difficulty due to that video, so we're just gonna ease on back into our show. We're still here. We'll give people a few minutes to chime in. We're gonna go ahead and let's take a quick break, right quick, and then we'll be right back, guys.
It's amazing that they don't want people to know what's being done, how people are being treated, how people are being mistreated. It's just like the government
Hello? Hey, Rick. I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother? I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. Oh, all I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010.
because of their
Thomas Red
quote
Shack,
unquote position.
Tuscaloosa,
If you break
Alabama.
the law, it doesn't matter if you're the president of the United States. It doesn't matter if you're the president of some other country. If you're over here on this land, you break the law. You're supposed to be held to the same standard that the average Joe is held to.
We're back. Give people a few minutes.
You're definitely right about that, but they're not gonna do it.
I apologize. I guess we played the video too long. They whatever going on, we'll accept what they're saying. We they'll block us after a while, so we just gonna talk about it. Now we can just talk about it. There was in both scenarios. There was no probable cause for an arrest. And Veronica Adams had put up some information in relation to the definition of probable cause, and she's absolutely right. In the United States criminal law, probable cause is the standard by which police authorities have reason to obtain a warrant for the arrest of a suspect criminal or the issuing of a search warrant. In neither one of those situations, there were any probable cause that I could see that were worthy of a search warrant or an arrest, especially the West Virginia case there, and then the gentleman in what was it, Childeberg, Alabama, the preacher. So those are things. And these are scenarios, and I think what people need to understand. Let's say this: can you actually drink alcohol, an open can of beer in your own yard, and be asked to go inside with it? Is that considered an open beverage?
I would say yes.
Why would you say yes, Mike?
That's my do it, but usually they try to keep that covered up. If police around.
So you
And that wrong. I don't. That see. That's one of the. I would think if you're in the privacy of your own home, if you're on your own yard, like it says with the ID, it's private property. Alcohol is not illegal. If alcohol is illegal in your county, you're a dry county, then maybe there's an issue. But if you're sitting in your own yard and you're in your own home and you're not operating any type of mechanical anything, you're in your own yard. You're drinking a beverage that's legal in your town.
there.
I mean, it's legal also because they do.
Well, let's just say scenario of that. I mean, is there a probable cause for an arrest? Officer just drive by and see you with a can of beer in your own yard.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Probably talk for the rest, but I think that they can try.
I tell you, you need to go inside the house with that. But that's what, like you said, I think that's one of them, them blurry lines that don't nobody really knows the actual truth of it.
If you're walking down the street, that's a different story. If you're sitting in your yard, you're at home on your porch in your yard.
I agree.
That's your house. If you're walking down the street, that's a different story.
Yes.
Yeah. To me, that's even easier than the backpack scenario.
Correct. And you're right. And that's what we want people to understand. Um, it was brought up earlier in the other show about probable cause. I mean, let's let's get a true understanding of when officers pull you over or when you get stopped. Okay, when you get stopped for let's talk about a traffic violation. Let's say you fail to turn on your signal, which is a weak reason to pull a person over. Okay, but it is the law, but I call it a weak WEAK reason to pull a person over. But there is probable cause to pull you over because you failed to signal, as they say. That is law. And you get pulled over, and he comes up to you and say, "Hey, do you have your driver license?" And he see a can of beer in your car, and it's open. How much have you been drinking? Now he has probable cause because he see an open Bud Light bottle, and you fail to open. Now you got probable cause to see if you've been drinking and driving. Are you capable of drinking and driving? That's a probable cause situation. But as I say, I find that to be a weak situation, but it's still breaking the law. Now, you're driving down the road and he just assumed you're drinking. Don't see a beer bottle, he just see you turn something up. Can't tell if it's a beer, can't tell if it's Coca-Cola. He pulls you over. Come to find out, it is a root beer. What's the what we doing now? Why are we pulled over now? Well, he assumed you had a beer. Now he asks the question, can I look in your car? Do you have probable cause to look into your car?
Nope. No, you don't. Nope. Because he said, can I? He knows he ain't got probable cause to look in the car already.
He verifies that it's a Coke, a beer. I mean, or not a beer, like a root beer, a drink. He sees that he's verified that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what other but he initially stated that he thought.
Mm-hmm.
So where's this probable cause then? Because it's clear that it's a Pepsi or whatever now. So were you swerving the line? I mean, what? I don't.
He pulled you over because he thought he saw a beer, which root beer comes in the shape of
Okay. So that was just it. Because I stepped away for a second. So it's only because he saw a beer. So he doesn't have one once you've proven that it's not a beer. So why else would you want to search my car?
So when he asked that question, and you showed him your license, you got your insurance, you got your registration, there's no beer. Now he asks the question, "Can I search your car?" What do?
Say no. No, you cannot.
You gonna allow it?
No. See, I was with you there. That actual situation happened to me and my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
We were drinking. And like I said, I know exactly what root beer you're talking about. IBC root beer is the ones that they come in a little brown bottles, look like a Bud Light.
Right, absolutely.
And we were sitting there drinking that and acting, and cheers and everything. It's me and my grandfather pulled us over. My grandfather quickly showed him the 6 pack of IBC. Showed us showed him the glass the bottles that we were drinking out of. And he pretty much let us go ahead on about our business. He didn't even ask for license or nothing after that.
Should have apologized if anything. Sorry for the misunderstanding why I pulled you over. And you agree and I agree that that IBC root beer bottle is shaped like a Bud Light. But once he figured it out, he should have apologized and just said, "Hey, go on by your way." But if the officer would have just said, "Is it okay to look inside your vehicle?" 50%, I'm gonna say higher than that. 60% of African Americans would have said, "Sure."
I agree. And that was part of the thing we were talking about last week too, Daryl, was I feel like a lot of people are feeling intimidated when they say, well, show me your ID, show me this, and they feel like they have to do it, or the next thing is going to happen, just like what happened in West Virginia. If you do it, on take you to jail. Okay. And they feel like they haven't done anything, but here come my ID. See, I told you, and they feel like they obligated to do it because they're intimidated into doing it. So
Valerie Adams said, always say no because now ANSI and everything is open for police. You may have been pulled over for a traffic violation. He may find marijuana and now you can be arrested. That's correct.
That is true. I was stuck.
And then there's so many situations where someone was in their home, so also may stop by their home for whatever reason, had a warrant for something else, saw some goods or something, and they arrested them for that. Well, you didn't have a search warrant for that. A lot of those cases, I won't say most, because you just never know the system. They get thrown out. And sometimes things get a little shady because, like, I think as Valerie was saying in the comments, if he sees illegal activity going on, then yes, the officer has the right to enter the property. I mean, something illegal is going on. But they're coming in and searching for something else, and they see something else illegal, then to me that gets a little shady because marijuana is illegal substance like cocaine, and say in Alabama, so it's Tuscaloosa. But I have seen people's cases get thrown out because they were told that they didn't have a warrant for that. Mm-hmm. So will that always be the case though? Because the marijuana is illegal, but he was there for other business. So I'm like, that has always left me kind of excited. I've seen a couple of cases where it was thrown out. They didn't have a search warrant for that. So I'm like, but it is illegal. You know, kind of like the beer thing. It's clear to me because it's beer and it's legal. You're in your yard. But you're not walking down the street or I said in the car in an open can. But what about something like marijuana that is clearly not legalized here yet? They come into your home searching for something else, or maybe even searching for someone else. They see a few buds on the table. They see whatever, some stuff rolled up or whatever, and they see that, and so they arrest you for that.
Let me see, can we get Valerie Gaskin Adams to join in with us on this conversation? I mean, there are several scenarios that I think we need to teach our children. And now, probable cause, if you get stopped for a traffic violation and there is the aroma of alcohol on the driver's breath or marijuana in the vehicle, then there is probable cause. Okay? Let's make sure we got a true understanding that. That's why I tell my daughter, if you're driving, no legal activity need to be going on inside your vehicle. None.
That's right.
None. And if you're in the car with someone, you don't need to be with them if they're doing that type of because here's scenarios, or several scenarios. I've seen so many young men and women catch cases because no one wants to snitch or say or own up to, oh, the baggie was X, Y, or Z. So who do they arrest? 3 people in the vehicle, marijuana's found, nobody owns up to it.
They arrest 3 people then.
They arrest all 3. All 3.
I was pulled over on Harbor Road because I had a headlight on the driver's side out. The cop got out. I just left the car store, and I leaned out the window and I held up the part of my receipt. And I said,
said, I know what you stopped me for. He ain't got to the car yet. I said, I know what you stopped me for. I know what you looking at and what you saw. I got the bulb in my hand. I'm on my way home to put it in. Mm-hmm. He said, okay. And he turned around. And he turned around and got ready to go.
You know, and another thing I hate to see is when young people do have like an open can of beer or open bottle of beer, they jump out and run. If that's all you got, don't jump out and run, because now you get evaded police, you get all kinds of stuff thrown in there. Where it could have just been one charge. They'll jump out and run because they had an open. Some of them may be because of more than that, but I know there have been some that because they have an open container, or maybe they didn't have their license suspended or something like that, but they'll have that open container. Once they get pulled over, they jump out and run. I'm like, it's an open container. Right. You haven't done anything else. Don't jump out and run for that, because then you're putting other people at risk, you're putting yourself at risk, you're putting the officer at risk, and that's just create a whole different scenario.
Attempting to elude.
I think most of that comes from just the mindset of a lot of young people right now, feeling that they're very fearful of law enforcement now, and anytime they feel like they're getting pulled over, it's going to be more of a hassle than just as simple as I'm going to get a ticket um, or anything like that. They feel like it's going to escalate.
I mean, that's what it's always been. That's what I'm talking about. It's just been that way. Like, just don't, if you know that that's all it is, and a lot of times, even if you know that there's something else, it's worse to jump out and run. That's another, tell you at least one other charge. That's at least one other charge.
That's correct. Attempting to elude.
And then the situation is escalating and tempers are flaring now. Because nobody likes to chase anybody. Nobody likes for you to make them run.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's an open and the direction a lot of times because,
okay, y'all, there's a public safety alert, y'all. Emergency alert. Runaway 12-year-old black male. Red glasses, blue jersey, blue jeans, black backpack.
Tuscaloosa?
It didn't say. I'm surprised it didn't say. It just jumped up on my phone.
Tuscaloosa County. Lady T just said Tuscaloosa County. Wow. But I wanted to get back to that video real quick in the aspect of that news anchor asked the question, like, would everything have escalated if they had to be a white family sitting on their porch, and would they even have come to come to them asking them for an ID or asking them any questions about that marijuana on the side of the road? And I don't think that is a no. I don't think that they would even came on that property.
So wouldn't
Well, I don't think they would accuse them as fast. I keep saying that, everyone has their own personality. I see a lot of different officers have different personalities. We talked about this before.
That's Virginia. We already know what's going on in Virginia with the police up there and who all run Virginia. Well, we know that's a racist state.
Well,
we know that.
Well, bro, Porter, also, just even any police department, you're going to find officers have different personalities, different demographics of living lifestyles. You find that some officers, I've seen where some white officers say they've never encountered the African American community.
No.
They went to.
You're right.
And so,
like I say, that's embedded deep in North Carolina.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's embedded deep.
I'm just saying if a person never interacted,
alive and well in Virginia right now today.
If a person had never interacted with any other race, Well, how would they know how to police another race unless they have one
I
agenda?
get what you're saying because I experienced some of that in Kentucky. I did. I really did. Because I found out a lot of people up there had never seen a black person in person.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
right about
and it was shocking because when I walked in Walmart just about from south, because we was up there in the wintertime, they had a snowstorm, several snowstorms each day. And I was up there to get me another pack of socks because I was already wearing four packs of pairs of socks. It was just that cold. And when I walked in Walmart, people were stopping in their tracks, looking at me. Little babies were standing there like, "Mom, Mom, Mom," and they were pointing at me.
too much for you. That's an honest truth. Look, that's a
Might know.
So this, those are some of the things. But what?
I can see where racism is alive and well everywhere. Racism is alive and well any and every city, and especially down here in the South. We talk about a lot of other racist places, but we know all well how racist it is. No matter where else we go and how funny something might look, every area, most areas seem to have like a kind of back hills like type of area where you don't see any black people. But the one thing about people is, if you become law enforcement, you never know who's going to drive through your town. So all that stuff about them not knowing how to talk to people, how about just the golden rule? You treat those the way you want to be treated. And if there's your job, the golden rule of your job is to treat all people the same.
hey, we got
That person can be purple.
on the line.
Okay.
The person can be purple. They can be pink. If you've never interacted with a black person at all, and some of them will say they haven't, and sometimes they do that to make you feel intimidated or to make you feel less than. Just like a lot of times I always say, stop letting them strip black people of their dignity. So even if they've never interacted with someone, they know that black people exist. They see Will Smith on TV, don't they? They see all the stuff that happens in the media about black white relations and being officers. So sometimes they think they're in their little bubble and that stuff may not apply to them. But if you're a human being, and most of them claim to be Christian, then you treat the driver that's going through your town, passing through, because like I said, maybe there are no black people there. If they commit a traffic violation, you treat them the same way you would treat Bubba up the road. You treat them the same way, or are you just not, are you not doing anything? Are you just the people in your town just made very nice? Nobody's doing anything? So you never interact with somebody? They've interacted with other Caucasian people who cut up, act out, do things. Even if you interact with a black guy today, you've never interacted with him, you've been on the force 5, 10, 15 years. Treat people the same. Treat them the way you're supposed to treat any person that you need to stop or have an encounter with. Do they? Daryl, hey, how y'all doing? This Lisa.
Hey,
Hey,
Lisa.
Lisa. Daryl, do they not have some form of diversity training at the academy?
I'm not sure if it's offered at the academy. I can't say, but I know TPD at one time had a training cycle. It is a part of
And that's
it.
what we've talked about for the past 3 years too. There needs to be more diversity training. There was even Tuscaloosa went through this thing where they so-called had some type of diversity stuff, but sometimes things are jokes, so I'm just gonna leave that there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hey, we do have another caller on the line. Vanessa.
Valerie.
Hey, Valerie. How you
Well, I was thinking, Harold, when you went through the academy, did y'all do the diversity training? I'm quite sure, like in the '80s or whatever.
Well, actually, it wasn't offered then. Actually, the first diversity training happened probably in the mid '90s.
Okay. All right. So to me, like every government agency that receives federal funds, in which the police officer does, department receives federal funds, they must do diversity training to make sure that there's no civil rights violations. If there are civil rights violations, that means that the monies that the federal government that is has been allocated
for the police department, those federal funds can be cut off if the Department of Justice finds that there have been some kind of
Violation.
a violation has occurred. Uh, the whole deal is that these organizations cannot operate without federal funds, and those federal funds are the basis that keep the organizations alive. So, with all of that, individuals need to file a civil rights violation with the Department of Justice as well.
Okay.
Federal funds is the number one cause that they need those federal funds to survive.
That is a lot of times that wind up being the complainers word against the department's word. And if you got one of those good old boy sheriffs, he gonna cover for his department all the time. So like that West Virginia situation, um, it was obvious that that sheriff didn't want anybody recording that whole entire situation because I felt like he knew he was wrong. And
yeah,
he wanted to push everybody inside the house. So the only the only evidence they would have had would have been that body cam footage that they would have had. And of course, we all seem to know that a lot of times body cam footage, oh, we forgot to turn it on.
And as you know, like Valerie said, that if you don't have that trainer provide that training, then you don't get those funds. Well, how many times have we heard of things just being signed off?
yep.
They're not getting the training, and they're just getting signed off. And then they go back and the paper trail shows that okay, this person didn't know how to do this. You start looking at records and stuff saying they made this decision, they made that decision, and they really come to kind of figure out. And it was something a recent case. I can't quite remember which one it was, but a lot of times those things are just signed off. That's right. We talked about that a couple of years ago too. How like when we have training and they say, okay, y'all come through here and sign that you did this. When we at work, it could be at a factory, it could be at a plant. No, in full way you haven't signed it. But if some hit the ceiling, hit the fan, your signature is on there. So don't ever let them give you something saying, hey, sign this. It's because we have to have training. It's kind of like when you're at the doctor's office or your or some other office and they just say, oh, that just says this. And they just want you to just throw your signature on there. Or you buying a new car. Oh, it just says this. And they want you to put your signature on there. Always read the fine print. Even if you don't even understand what it means. If they want your money, they'll give you time. But sometimes it's not about money. And they'll just say, oh, just sign this. It could be a job. Your supervisor put pressure on you. Oh, well, you don't read all of it. It's just saying this. Well, you don't need to explain to somebody what it says unless that person is incapable of understanding. So let them read it themselves. So what I'm seeing is that a lot of times, a lot of jobs, so I'm sure it happens in law enforcement. Those things are being signed off. That they've been trained to do this and that, like Val was saying, and a lot of times they do that because they feel like they're on low staff. They don't have time to do that the sufficient training. They get it signed off, but they still receive the funds.
Yeah.
Mr. Porter,
Would
Mr.
it be
Porter,
just that, or just yes, also the head of that department? But I think the air.
I mean, if the head of the department is him. I mean, that's a part of the head of the department. Somebody's just pushing you along. It's divisional. It's the head of the, of course, it also it's going to be the head of the department. But if they're saying sign this, we don't have enough staff to do this training, or sometimes they'll have somebody they'll quickly designate. Oh well, this person be the one that's supposed to do this. Especially when stuff starts getting stirred up in the community that oh they didn't do this right and they didn't do it right. All of a sudden, the person have a new job or a new title and they're saying they have those funds and they even have the paperwork that you signed and stuff. But have you adequately been trained on what you signed? A lot of times, no.
No, you haven't. And a lot of times the supervisors, with the direct training, the supervisors need to know about the African American community and all that stuff. And so, but the supervisors are white.
Right. And they don't know, and that's one reason they push it along.
They just push it along just because they feel uncomfortable actually talking about it. And so that's how come it there's no good training.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, each department should have an equal opportunity advisor, just like in the military. I was equal opportunity advisor in Alabama, and where I dealt with at battalion level and the racism, discrimination, all of that. And I was able to, it was mandatory for me to give briefing on different ethnic groups, African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, let them know about the Jewish people as well. Just it's just so many facets of it, sexual harassment, all of that, so that they would know that the United States government is serious about these different allegations that are going on within the department. So these people, they're not. It is now. It is CRT, critical race theory. You making them feel all sad and everything about the system. So, but that's not the case. It's like you're educating them on the background of African American, how the African Americans feel about the police department. The police department was not a friend of black people. Never and never will be the friend of black people. That's how come they have so many from the community, the black community, that they have lost all respect for the police department because they know of all the things that they've done in the past and nothing was done to rectify those problems. And so it's still embedded in our brains that the police department is not our friend. As much as we want them to be our friend, we know we trust them because who is at the top, basically, most of the time.
Who you gonna call?
The white people, and they are just in their own little world.
Not wanting to be made to feel guilty or responsible or held accountable for anything.
No accountability whatsoever. None whatsoever. No accountability. That's the problem. And it's going to take education along with the police officer, they getting out there and trying to, um, they need to act like the the black people, they're not the enemy. But sometimes some of the white officers, they feel they're afraid. Some of the women
They don't, and some of them don't feel like they need training because some of them feel like it's an inherent feeling of authority. The authority lies in them. They say, "Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong." We don't feel that way, but some of them, and sometimes it takes another white person to say, "This feeling that you have is so inherent. It's so automatic for you that you don't even understand that you're demeaning another person because they don't look like you. They feel like they feel like, and they know what they're doing most of the time because a lot of the stuff that's going on is because they feel threatened by the population switch.
Mm-hmm. We all have prejudice.
Yes, they completely feel threatened by the population switch.
Listen, that's what it is. And so now the black community, there's no respect for the police officer. There's none. That used to be one of the highest jobs, esteemed, that you would see a police officer in their uniform and you would be you would smile and you would just see them and you were like, okay, that person, he looks good in his uniform, she looks good in her uniform, she's protecting the community and all this kind of stuff. We look up to them. But now with all these different things that the invention of the cell phone has brought everything to the forefront. That's what that is. Can you imagine this, Lisa? Can you imagine, like, prior to cell phone or the camera phone, all the incidences of police brutality that fell on a he say, she say, and they taking the word of the officer. When an officer, to me, if I was a police officer, I would want somebody to record me doing my job. Because I know I'm a public servant, I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. But it always bothers me when you have an officer that questions why somebody is recording you. Oh, they got something to hide. But I like what you said, Ms. Adams, when you talked about um, getting back to the community policing model. Um, when I spoke with the sheriff and a couple of the deputies, we talked about reconstituting the Explorer program that I actually used to be a part of when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. Because we talked about the importance of um, instilling trust in the police and also to help with recruitment efforts. You know, you talk to little kids now, they don't want to be police officers. And we have to change that narrative because it's hard for an officer to mistreat somebody when they got a partner that looks like that person that they stopped or they've encountered, or it should be. So hopefully, with that program, we can start back, getting back to the true community policing model that we had. And I know the city police, when I talked to the chief of police, the community policing where they had the officers situated in the housing projects and within the community, assigned to a community, that was a grant. And he basically said that the grant had not been renewed. I know the city hired a grant writer, so maybe that's something that the city police um, could reinstitute as well. To have those officers actually in those communities all the time so that they interact with those people on a daily basis.
Well, it's a good thing that you all are about to reinstitute the program. The sheriff department. This a good thing that you
and
all
you know, I
doing.
guess that's the reason why I always gravitated toward law enforcement. I was never fearful of law enforcement. And like you said, like somebody said, when you see them, you appreciated and respected a police officer. Because you knew they were there to really protect and serve. But that narrative changed over time as we saw, you know, people being brutalized and officers not being held accountable for the things that they did uh, in the black community.
And how often do
we
people
just
say
lost
that?
our respect.
Yeah, how often do people say, what about what about before the cell phones? Well, you know what? Before then, it was Rodney King. You had it opened our eyes in the early 90s, and that was a recorder. That was a what? A camcorder.
A camcorder.
So that was a camcorder, and so that was a camcorder, and it really started then that people would begin to say, "Wow, what else has been going on?" And this is Los Angeles. Like they love to label the South and the Southeast, but this was Los Angeles, and they were like, "Wow, wow." So how people begin to really ask the question then, how much does it go on? And then you have other people that sometimes saying, "Oh, it's a lot that goes on," but it was never recorded. And then, oh my, the cell phones came along.
But that's
with the capacity to record.
It's a thing about the cell phone because you get officers just like the officer on the video we saw earlier. Oh, you starting to record? Get inside the house. I need you to comply with me. Please put down your cell phone. Even though you know it's legal for you to record your interaction with that police officer, there's a lot of police officers that don't want you to do that.
But did you ever notice on that video that the other younger, I guess he was the younger officer, he never questioned anything, or he never applied, put the cell phone away, or he, to me, he didn't even look like he wanted to make the arrest. And that's why I keep saying it's sometimes it's an individual, and I think what Veronica described it as inherited authority.
Mm-hmm. It's an inherited authority. It exists automatically.
I can speak to what Mike was saying earlier about before the cell phone.
Somebody's devices in the background. I hear Daryl a second time.
Yeah, somebody got stuff on. There you go.
I was in the neighborhood. I was in East Circle Project. I was 15, and a black officer told my neighbors across the street he would walk across the street and say something or do something to me. But I had a hammer in my hand. I'm 15 years old. I wasn't doing nothing wrong. But he told them he would have came across the street and beat me. And I'm in my own yard. Fast forward to 17 years old. I had just got home from work from Shoney, where I was a bus boy. Stopped at the store to call for me a ride. My brother-in-law shows up. Black cop rolls up and says, "Y'all going to jail tonight," and rides off. If you know anything about Norfolk and East Circle, you know where the gas station used to be saved on now. I think it's still a 66 or a 60 now. You know where Riverside still is today. East Circle Church right across the street from Riverside. Riverside baseball field got a road going down right beside it. When he was taking me home, we went down that road. By then, he had gathered 2 other officers. They came halfway up the road and tried to block us from coming down into East Circle. Thus, before the cell phone, so that there will be no witnesses to what was about to happen. We drove around all 3 of us. Went on down to East Circle and paused. We paused across the street from my apartment. They sat outside and was waiting before I went in the house. And we stood there talking. All of a sudden, these same cops pulled up. They didn't ask them. They came straight to me and asked me for an ID. I replied to that officer and said, "Look, I don't have an ID. I just got to work. I live across the street." I pointed my apartment. I live across the street. My mama is up waiting on me to come in the house. If you have any questions that I can't answer, you can come over here with me and talk to my mom. He continued to repeat the same question 4 more times. By then, my mom came outside and wondering what was going on. I'm letting him know you're not going to take me to jail for not having a doggone ID. And as he proceeded and tried to grab my arm, my mom was tapping him on his shoulder. He swung back and knocked my mom down. I turned around and that was it. We went to jail that night. Court case came up a year later. They didn't show up to court because they know they didn't have a case. There were multiple witnesses outside that night that could elaborate everything that went on. They didn't go at them as them their ID. I'm the youngest person out there that night. And they came straight at me.
This Lisa, somebody hands on. I hear feedback in the background and it makes it hard to hear.
That's what I just spoke about. That it's feedback.
Somebody's listening to the show while they talking on the phone.
Yeah, just turn it completely down.
There you go.
It just went away.
Yeah. But yeah. This has been going on way before Rodney King, because that was not okay.
No, but what Rodney King did, it showed. That's what we're talking about. It showed the camcorder. It showed what the cell phones are now specializing in.
How they act towards black people. And like I said, all these things is done. I got more hassle and more issues out of black cops than I did the white.
You right. It's some of them out there. They worse.
That's why we say, how can you treat someone? You say, how can they treat somebody like that works with them? Well, they've been programmed to accept it, and sometimes they're the ones who even do it. So they've been made to feel. They make them feel like they're a part of that blue line.
That's why I say it's always based upon the leadership. If you got a leader that condones that type of attitude, generally he's gonna have a bunch of followers that do the same thing that he condones. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that, Mike. I can. You're not a part of the mission. I remember hearing.
Yeah.
So to change the outlook of most police departments, you got to look at the leadership that you have in the police department, and some of them are old hard nosed people that been looking at things the same way for so long. It's time for them to step aside and let somebody else take the reins. But the problem is the people that take the reins gonna be people that they program.
And they've been programmed.
Valerie, you still on with us? Okay, she might have hung. Valerie.
Valerie?
Mm-hmm. She might have hung up. Yeah, I was just curious. Did she work in a field of
She's still on my line. Valerie?
Oh yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just wondering, did you work with something related to diversity training or something? She might have been doing something else.
Miss Adams?
Yes, I no longer work in that field, but
Okay.
I used to do that in the military.
Okay.
Diversity training?
Yeah, I used to do that in the National Guard, the Equal Opportunity Advisor, to make sure that if there's any kind of complaint that soldiers were having, they file a complaint with me, and therefore I do the investigation, go on a fact finding mission, and see, what's going on.
Okay. That's interesting.
I do think that's a very good idea to have in city police, uh, in police precincts all over actually, to have some court diversity training, because once again, there's nowhere that you're going that is going to be a completely Caucasian neighborhood or a completely black neighborhood or a completely Hispanic neighborhood. It's always going to be somebody moving in of a different ethnicity. So why not know how to handle each and every one of them? And everybody has different cultures.
Exactly. That's where you have to bring in people.
So have you taken that experience, that training that you have, and offered it to, there's a lot of small police departments that probably don't even concentrate on diversity training, where a lot of the Hispanics is living in their communities. You're seeing an invasion of just a whole lot of different nationalities into these communities now. Have you thought about using your training to share with other departments or charge for other departments?
Well, I really haven't thought about that, but I still have my training materials that I graduated from the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute at Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. That's where we did the training. And I don't know, maybe they can send personnel to the Patrick Air Force Base to get that training. This government personnel, federal personnel, they actually go because when I was there, different people from different federal organizations, they were there, not just military, but the civilian people as well. So Patrick Air Force Base could be um, educational source for them as well.
Okay.
They receive federal funds, so they are federal as well. As long as they receive federal funds, they are federal.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
It really does. You know, it seems that should be something that should be proposed to our city council. Would they take heed to it? Maybe not, but it's something that should be proposed to them, and maybe looked into for the police department and probably for the whole entire Tuscaloosa County. As a whole.
Well, this is Lisa. I know when Sonia McKinstry was on the council, um, she did try to um, have some diversity training because I know that she sought out some information from a organization on the UA campus to come in and do some of that diversity training. I believe that the city did do it, but it was with another organization. And nobody knew what the outcome was. We never followed back up on it. So I know it has been proposed to the city.
Well, the course was offered, and it was through the I think called the 10-4 Corporation at that time. I'm not sure if it's still the same one, but it they did go through the training, but it was some issues, and then I think they corrected it, and where it is now, I don't know.
Well, I was thinking like Patrick Air Force Base, that's a residential. So we spent 3 weeks going through different scenarios, caveats, learning about what is like privilege, what is just racism, anti-Semitism, sorry, and just everything, just that you're going to actually possibly connect with in the world.
That's the one.
So
That's the one I went through when they did finally do a diversity training. It was I think it was like 2 or 3 days, and you learned about other nationalities of when you're dealing with a
yeah.
Chinese family who some even when you're dealing with, I guess you can say, Islam or whatever nationality they were, that the women ain't gonna talk to you first. The man, you gotta talk to the man to get to the woman. So they taught you a whole lot of things about
Yeah.
how to deal with different nationalities and their traditions of life, or even now domestic violence case. You go to a Chinese family or Japanese family, you're not gonna get the opportunity to talk just to the female first. So you need to know how to uh, rationale with the male suspect to get to the female. A lot of good information. Barry, we're gonna have to get you. We're gonna have to get you on the program more often and help educate us a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
more.
I just located my book. I found just different things on like group development theory, socialization, perception.
Well, we're gonna
And
get.
then some of that training, they also need to learn about people about the constitutional rights.
Well, they go through it.
If somebody, okay, everybody that's on the phone, whoever's not speaking, it's easier if you mute. Because if they're not going to turn their background down, it makes it hard to hear what she's saying sometimes in information.
Yeah.
I hear it too. I hear it too.
So you need to mute. If you're not speaking, just mute your phone.
Yeah. Is that better? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the one particular lesson, basically, they need to know what power and privilege. They have the power and they are privileged. And so they need to identify those different two types of things, and they need to, their control base, their how they see leadership, authentic leadership, because getting with that young police officer that was with the man that was trying, telling him to get his ID, you notice that he wasn't saying anything. That was his mentor. So he's not going to step up and say anything because assuming that he's a rookie, basically, or whatever, and he's learning from him. So he's being taught the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was saying.
Thing.
That's what I was
That's the
saying.
thing. And so they're not going to go up against their mentor or the person that they're driving with or whatever. But some states have a law that if you see something and you don't do anything, you are complicit as well.
Well,
So
that I guarantee you, his name is on that lawsuit in West Virginia.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I guarantee you, his name is on that lawsuit because he, even though that the Mr. Tark said let him do it. Well, yeah, he let him do it because he saw that the other officers were more wanted to instigate something more aggressive. But at the same time, the other officer had an opportunity to say, this is not a lawful arrest. But like you said, he possibly could have just, he could have spoke up, but he didn't speak up at the right time. And hey, it's like I said,
but how have we been saying that though, Daryl? In most of these cases in which you look at some illegal police activity, if we want to call it that, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
How often do you see like other officers just kind of laid back, not saying anything?
I think it's gonna
all the time.
I think it's gonna begin to change when you start seeing you being sued behind the misconduct, like the George Floyd situation, or fired or arrested and put in prison behind the misconduct of another person. I think that need to be put into the mindset of every officer. If you are involved in a wrong situation, violating someone's right, police brutality, and you don't do anything, you just as guilty, and you can be sued and arrested and put away also. I think more and more of that need to be put back into the fact that you just as liable.
Well, Dan, how do you feel about a national registry that lists the name of officers that have violated people's civil rights or dismissed or forced to resign or voluntold to quit after having violated people's civil rights?
That's I'm for that because if we're gonna punish criminals for the rest of their life of committing felonies, I don't see this being no different than a person that has been fired or arrested or whatever. It's a reputation that you're toting now. So if that reputation, it need to be known throughout the whole country that hey, John Doe worked at such and such police department, was was fired due to uh, policy violations of police brutality. He wasn't never charged, but he was arrested. You know, that would let me know, hey, that's someone I don't need on my force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, before we get off, I'm looking at the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, there will be a gun violence. It'll be a rally in support of victims. The families of people that have been lost due to gun violence. Saturday at Snow Hill Park. And we just want everybody to come out and support this cause. I, it's being sponsored by several organizations, including the NAACP. Um, we have we're asking like individuals that have been impacted by gun violence, lost somebody, to come out and share their story. Um, we're going to provide a platform. There will be food, a DJ, DJ Dre with the block, and just asking the whole community to just come out. I think that's from 12 to 2, I think. 12 to 2. I'll share that flyer. And also, we were talking about um, the makeshift jail, the temporary jails. There's going to be a community meeting about that next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We're still trying to determine a location, but we want the people in the community. The sheriff department is going to come out and they're going to do a presentation and answer questions.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I saw that where the sheriff department is getting ready to either rebuild portions of the Metro County jail. I think that was in the newspaper a couple weeks ago. So yeah, the makeshift jails is on the way.
Yeah, they're on the way. But people still, I think by allowing people to come in and ask questions and look at them and have some input. Well, first of all, I don't like the idea of a jail in any residential community. I know there was some talks before about a park, people wanting to park over there. Now, I don't live over there anymore, but the idea of a park across the street from a jail doesn't make sense to me either.
Mm-mm.
I would not take my children to a park across the street from a jailhouse.
Let me just say this. Let me just comment on what you're saying and we're talking about that particular area, correct?
Yes.
That whole vicinity need to be revitalized. That whole block.
Yes.
It's kazoo, it's overgrown houses, it's uh just a lot of changes could be done in that 1 block radius to make a difference.
I agree there. I agree.
I see it.
I agree.
I've seen it. And the jail is there. I don't think it's gonna move anywhere other than what they're about to do for a rebuilding. But that whole area need to be revitalized to the point that okay, you can put up of course you got the train track, but you can put up a wall to kind of section. I ain't talking about no 50-foot wall. I'm talking about just a regular 6 foot or 10-foot wall to just give that community a sense of a new look. Build some habitat houses, um, revitalize that whole area, that whole block. You got old barbecue King building. All those areas could be new new ideas for that whole area from the train track there to 18th Street. It's a lot can be done.
Well, there, I think the city got plans for a lot of parts of the west side. Stay tuned.
Okay. Okay.
I think the city has plans. But to comment on what you said, we did talk about when I met with the sheriff. We did discuss something to kind of obscure the site of the jail, and he said that the sheriff said that that's the minimum that he could do, and I even asked who was gonna pay for it if that's what the people wanted, and he said that he would pay for it out of his budget. So we did have that conversation, but I still would like for the community to come out and have some input because there may be some other ideas that people might have, and then I want them to see how the structure is going to look. There is a fence. Then there's another wall, brick wall. So there are some things that can be done. I even suggested bringing in some landscaping. Trees and shrubs might help. Um, so but like I said, that should be the decision of the people that have to walk out their door and look at it.
That's true. That's true. Well, it's that 10 o'clock hour, of course, as always, 2 hours. And some valuable information. Keep us updated on when that meeting. I'm going to definitely try to be there. Hopefully, it's on a Wednesday.
It's going to be Wednesday, next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And we're looking at, we're trying to finalize the location. There's 2 locations that's being considered, but we want to make sure that they have ample the technology available for the presentation.
Okay. First African right there up the street, so I think they technology worthy. That's just me now. Suggestion.
Just go over there.
I mean, you don't want to take them too far out of the way. I mean, they can't visualize what they're trying to do. I mean, if you held it at somewhere like Eastwood or downtown, they wouldn't be able to imagine the view. But if you from that neighborhood and you see what they're talking about and you familiar with it and you familiar with it, not being too far from your house, you probably would come rather than trying to go too far out or downtown where somewhere where it's too busy.
Well, we were looking at TDOT, which is right down for T. Rogers.
Yeah, same area.
T. Rogers.
That's a good area.
Or either the C.A. Fred campus.
Try to keep it as close as possible to the jail area. Because, like you said, those are the people that got to look at it.
Exactly. Well, I'll definitely try the problem with that TDOT is seating capacity.
Well, I think it'll cover at least 75 people. Come on now.
Hopefully more than that show up.
No. Well, I'm just assuming, but 75. 75 will be reality.
Why can't it be moved up 82 near the detention center?
Do what now?
You talking about the actual jail?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I asked when I sat down was, have you considered moving the jail? Just completely relocating the jail. That wasn't feasible. So I was told that wasn't feasible. at this time. And so when you think about the fact that they're actually renovating that location, to me, that's an indicator that they plan to keep it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that everything's never feasible when it comes to the West Side? It's not feasible to tear down the YMCA and build a YMCA. It's not feasible to relocate a jail in a place where it's jacked up over there. It's torn down. So if they have plans for the West Side, so I mean, I'm kind of wondering like what plans they have because they tend not to leave things like jails in areas that will best serve the University of Alabama or that will best serve other areas of downtown Tuscaloosa that may kind of fall over into the West Side. It really makes me wonder what are they going to do because, like Darryl said, they could put homes there, but honestly and truly, I don't know anybody that would want to live in a home that's that close to a jail. Even when they first put Metro where it was, a lot of people were dissatisfied with that. But it was like, what do you do? Nobody was fighting for people back then. It's like nobody really wants to live somewhere like that. And then they can put up all the buffers in the world. That's just like when they build these shopping plazas and stuff. They put up these tall walls and buildings. You still hear the overrush of the traffic. You still know what's going on. And sometimes those people in jail get out and they go back up there trying to meet some of the workers. So they do come back to the area they know where they were jailed. It's just, I'm just so over it. Us and disgusted. Us and disgusted and over it. Why is it always the west side? And like Darryl talked about, from Greensboro Avenue all the way down up and through 18th Street to the YMCA, that used to be a great street to live on. We lived on it. We would cross the track and go to my aunt's house. She was maybe the second, third house upstairs, up the two-story house across the track on the left if you head to Piggly Wiggly. It's just so like you building a jail over there. So it just leads me to wonder what are they going to put there? Because we don't even want to stay by jails. So I'm just going to say other races in the community don't want to stay by jail. Anybody with great businesses don't want their businesses located near a jail.
I bet they would never put it in the O6.
Exactly.
Oh, no,
Exactly.
no, because it brings down property.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, who wants to live near? But why is it always the west side that's getting the trash, the trash? I'm not calling the inmates trash, but what I'm saying is it is a jail, and we know what jails are there for. They're the house criminals. So why there? I mean, they relocate things that they don't want near certain other communities. It's almost like once they put it in your community, you can just sit there and deal with it because it will always be there. What you do to find it, it'll always be there.
You won't go up Rushline Road and find no cash advance place. You will not go up Rushline Road to find a place where you can get cash now, pay for your check. You won't find that. No check cash place.
Oh no.
But you're gonna find it all anywhere where we at, you're gonna find a multitude of them.
I don't even care about that. Right now, it's just got me busting discussing about this jail. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying, like, I don't even care about that. But sometimes it's up to a person to practice restraint on how if they borrow money, if they get their grandparents going up there. Some people do that kind of stuff. Sometimes some things are kind of like, personal accountability. But to put a jail right in what it could be a rebuilding of a great neighborhood, it's ridiculous. You can't fix the why because it's not feasible. Why the why that could serve the elderly, it could serve children. And there was a lot of reasons that people didn't attend the why. Everybody kept saying, well, nobody goes to the why, nobody goes to the why. Nobody wants to go to the why. They all talking about they don't have heat, they don't have this way or that way, they don't have warm water, all this kind of stuff. It was a lot to be done over there. That's why nobody wanted to go. But you can't fix the why, it's not feasible. You can't relocate the jail out of the west side, it's not feasible. But anything else that wants to be done in this town gets done. Except for the west side.
Veronica, that's going to come down to every district in Tuscaloosa has a representative that's elected. And that's from one of the elected officials wanted to make sure everybody knew that this was not a city project, that this was a county project, as if that alleviated them of the responsibility of letting their constituents know that a portable jail was coming to their neighborhood. Exactly. So, we need to think about that, and y'all know me, when we go to the polls. That's what you need to think about, not just, keep making our elections about popularity. You need somebody that's with a voice that's not gonna sit up and go, yes, 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 yes. You know, you need somebody that's gonna say, wait a minute, how y'all gonna appropriate money over there when I asked for this over here for my district? Y'all didn't agree. So, you know, if you got somebody that's just going along to get along, then, you know, it comes down to representation. People have to get out and vote. They chose their representative. They chose that person. When they went to the polls, they made it about popularity. So, you know, now look what you get. No representation in City Hall.
Mm-hmm. I
No
bet you half the people
representation.
in District 6 that voted for the representative that they got, they probably truly don't like him, but they knew he was going to fight for what they wanted. Yep. But what many over there won't. Now I don't feel like he represents everybody, but I think there's a majority of the population over there that's kind of just like him. So of course they were willing to put him in office. Because they think logically when they're voting for their representatives.
Somebody's gonna ask a question.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's gonna fight for funds. Somebody's gonna fight for funds.
I mean,
somebody's gonna hold the city to
account. The mayor just redid his budget. When you got districts that have absolutely no projects, I mean, like, what are you doing? what are you doing?
Yeah. And y'all,
you can't say that you're representing your people.
And what kind of Lisa? I'm just buzzing this with somebody out this phone. Yeah, what we got? Fish. I went back up over there across from Checkers. Whole big ass plaza. Nothing. And this is close to the University of Alabama. Something should make the UA should be saying something about some of this stuff. You know, I don't care if it takes them to buy it up. Something should be moving and shaking. You got a whole what used to be a bowling alley. All that square footage over there. Used to be an Indian restaurant. Used to be a cleaners. Used to be so much over there. Used to be a pizza place over there years ago. And now you just got everywhere you go in Tuscaloosa, and District 7 is jacked up. You got all these places that are just empty. Birmingham puts us to shame. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some jacked up areas in Birmingham, but Jefferson County is not as near as big as Tuscaloosa County, but the buildup is real. And I don't care if it means all restaurants. Okay, they're not doing a lot of shopping in boutiques and stuff like that. But you go up through 280.
There's a Soho district downtown.
Okay? Go up and do 280. Go up down up and do just 280. Just take that one. Just 280. And then like you said, go downtown. There's no reason for all these. Look, Tuscaloosa's not built up enough for all these buildings to be so. It's just empty. 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 What is the city and the Chamber of Commerce doing? Are y'all not trying to get nobody here? You won't get another hospital for competition.
Lord knows we need.
Bad. Yeah, but you can die there at DCA, literally.
Sure can. You know what DCA stands for.
Don't come here.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, UAP.
We're gonna end it. We're gonna end it tonight on that matter, and we'll take it up on Thursday. We're gonna take it up on Thursday. I appreciate everybody that chimed in tonight, and we will take this up on Thursday.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Good night. All right.
Go find me a piece of chocolate. Y'all make me mad.